All right. Today I have Tabby on here. Tabby is one of my favorite people that I get to speak to entirely too rarely, but today we have a really good opportunity, and Tabby is going to sort of share her story with us, her experience working with me and with Falcon Nutrition. Tabby, can you tell us a little bit about yourself? Who are you and what do you do?
I'm Tabby. I am 32 years old. I work at a bank, so I'm pretty much on my butt all day. I love CrossFit and I love to walk my dogs. I used to love a little more cardio, but now I just teach 2 spin classes a week. And I am recently married and recently retired member of Falcon Nutrition, still using all the tools in my toolbox to live my best life, but that's a little bit about me.
Awesome. So we'll dig into that a bit. Tabby's got a really cool perspective because her and I worked together in 2017. So 5 years ago now, essentially, with the way time is flying. We worked together for quite a while, starting 5 years ago. She took a little break and then she came back and she worked with our registered dietitian, Coach Katie. And so she's got a really cool perspective that's really come full circle. She says she retired from Falcon Nutrition, but she's where she needs to be to keep this thing going long term. So thinking back before our very sort of first session together in 2017, what was your situation? Where were you with things? How did your self-care look, especially like the eating habits side of things?
Sure. So in 2017, I wanted to be skinny. I wanted to be the thin girl going to the gym on the treadmill, looking fit, right? Like that was my ideal body. I wanted to be as thin as possible. And I remember working with you and I hit my macros to a T every day. And I saw the weight just fall off. And I was like, wow, this is amazing. Like, look at how thin I'm getting. I was definitely the thinnest I've ever been in 2017. And I was happy. I was proud. I was like, look at what I did. Here I am. But I found quickly that it wasn't really sustainable.
Yep.
So I continued on like eating like a little bird, not really eating too much. And then all of a sudden it was like, wow, it's summer. I'm going to drink some beer. I'm going to have this. I'm going to have that. And I didn't know how to rope it back in and be as tight as I was before. So that was like 2017, 2018. We worked together again. I was, again, very thin, small. And then I kind of went on, spread my wings, lived my life. I never really gained a lot of weight back, but I was definitely not as thin as I was. So fast forward to 2021, 2020, I got engaged. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to get married. Then COVID hit. And it was like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do?
Yep.
I was still working out. I had found CrossFit and I was like, wow, this is awesome. I was working out, I was teaching spin. I was teaching like 5 or 6 days a week. And then COVID hit. And then I went down to teaching 1 class in my basement on Zoom. And I was like, what am I going to do? So 2020, I was still figuring out my life a little bit. I was working from home. I had never had the opportunity to do that. I was walking my dogs. I was doing this, I was doing that. And then 2021 hit and I was like, wow, I need to shape up a little bit. And I reached out to you and I'll never forget because I was like, Jason, help me, I'm fat. And you're like, you're not fat. And I was like, well, I have fat. You're like, you have fat, you're not fat. And then in 2021, you were like, okay, yeah, come on, I have this great, come with me. And I was like, absolutely. And then you were like, by the way, you're going to work with Katie. I was like, what do you mean I'm going to work with you? Like, Jason, I'm coming to you because I want to work with you. We worked so well together. And I just remember you being like, it's okay, just trust her.
There was some trust involved. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So then I started working with Katie and she's amazing, absolutely amazing. Her and I worked together for over a year. Yep. She taught me a lot, along with joining a new CrossFit gym. It's so important for us as women to have these other women who it's hard. Like you're great. You're an amazing coach and I loved working with you, but having Katie was just so different because she's like, I understand, like I'm a girl too. Like I get it. So then I said, you know what? Screw this. I don't want to be skinny. I want to be strong. And I told Katie, I said, this is what I want. This is what I want to do. I want to be able to deadlift 250 pounds and back squat over 200 pounds and snatch over 100. Like those were my goals. So
Yep.
it switched from eating very little amounts of calories to, hey, here's your macros. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is the best day ever. So that's kind of still where I'm at. I'm not necessarily super strict right now. But I know how to pull it back in, and I lift heavier than I've ever lifted in my life. I eat more food. I'm happier. I just think it's come from nutrition is eating these little amounts of food to nutrition is what fuels your body and what you need to perform the way you want to perform. So that's
awesome. Yeah. And how empowering is that to shift from I need to weigh less and look like I weigh less and just weigh as little as possible, and my food levels are going to reflect that, to I want to be able to do all the things. I want to be as strong as possible, and my fueling levels are going to be tailored to that. Cool place to be, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing. I also like the most random things. Like I was on a bike ride with my husband and my dogs the other day, and he's like, hey, if you want to run, like you can run. Like, who says that? Like, I don't run all the time, but I can just pick up and run because I'm fueled appropriately. I work out the way I need to, and I can just jog a little if I need to. It's just so crazy because I know a lot of people that can't do that.
Yeah. I mean, and that is fitness, right? It's like a state of physical readiness to where you get invited to do X, Y, Z. It's not, well, do I have the physical capacity? Like, am I in the shape to be able to do that? You want to make those decisions. Does the thing look fun or interesting to you or not? Because your body is more than game. And from there, it's you can pretty much do whatever you want to do if it interests you. So that's awesome. So next question, rewind all the way, 2016, 2017 versus now. What going on within your support system, whether it was me or Katie or things at home, like what do you think has enabled you to be where you are now versus say 5 or 6 years ago, as far as your approach to nutrition and fueling?
No offense, but I think it's me. Like you helped me learn that I needed to do all the things in order to feel the way that I wanted to feel. It wasn't necessarily like, it was you. You were like, you have this.
I take that as a huge compliment. The best coaches can help someone find something that's always been there, and the coach, the member sings the coach's praises, but really it's like it's you. I somehow our lives intersected at a time where I helped you tap into that, or started to, and then Katie really, I think, even made a more profound impact, but it's always in you. So I would agree entirely. You finding that within yourself was probably the main thing that has shifted from then until now. And so it sounds like the right support system, the right coaches was pretty instrumental. I have a coach that I would 100% give that same response. The difference is it was in me. I just couldn't find it. He helped me find it. So I think that's fantastic.
For sure.
You are very outspoken. You are like one of our kindest members as far as singing our praises, which everyone likes to have their ego stroked every once in a while. So thank you. But what would you say? Like if you had someone in your life, friend, family member, coworker, and they were on the fence and they're like, I don't know, it might just be like another thing that doesn't work for me. Someone sitting on the fence, what would you tell them about Falcon Nutrition?
I think I would, and I have told friends this in the past, I think I would just tell them, like, if you're ready to make the change, this is the best way to do it. And sorry, but I have worked with other companies.
Good.
In between all of this, I have,
unbiased.
And it was absolutely terrible. And I just remember being like, what am I doing? And this is crazy. And I know people that have worked there. And I was like, listen, if you want someone that's going to show you what you can do and not do it for you, you need to, you need to hook up with Jason and his team, because they're amazing. And I think that's the difference. Like there's sometimes when you're in this and you're grasping at like, oh, help me, I don't know what to do. But you and Katie are very good at being like, okay, well, this is what's going on. So what if you just think about this one thing, like change this one thing? Sometimes it's hard to do all the things, and sometimes you have to focus on one thing. So I think that if you're ready to make the change, that this is the best place to do it. I can't even think of another way to do it other than working with you or Katie or any of your coaches.
Well, thank you. I mean, the whole basis of our coaching program is to get you to a place where our approach, all the habits stacking in together, it just becomes your default mode. And that, it's essentially you acquire a new default mode through time and consistency, drilling the habits down, the nutrition, changes down. We want you to end up there. So when you retire from working with us, it truly is like a teacher on the last day of school that's sad to be losing their student, but they've done their job for that student and their student is leveling up. In your case, it's back into the wild. We're always here, what to do. But it's truly an awesome place to be. So any, do you want to put a pretty bow on it, tie it up, package it all up? I'm out of questions for you. I really appreciate you hopping on here with me. Closing thoughts?
The only real thing I wanted to say and made sure I brought up is, like I said before, I've known you longer than I've been with my husband. So it's like you hold a special place in my heart. Next to him, you're probably the next favorite. No, sorry, he's the favorite.
Yep. Don't say that.
And I think you've done a great job of even us working together in 2017 to now, the difference in your coach. Like, you've always been an amazing coach, but I feel like you've taken the approach of like, life isn't all about being at 1,200 calories. Life
Right.
is about real things. And I think you do an amazing job of teaching people how to live their lives while focusing on things that are important, like nutrition and fitness.
Thank you so much. That means a lot to me.
Of course.
That's because it's not the most common trait amongst those that do what I do. So thank you. And I'm glad it can, because I usually don't say that outright, but it kind of everything we've done to shape the program to how it is, hopefully lead ones to realizing that that's sort of our mentality.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much, Tabby.
Thank you.